So you're fighting KULVE Taroth and you want to break its horns, right? You want to be the one to get all the fat loots. Well, ladies and gentlemen, look no further, because in this video we're going to talk about the best ways to break its horns, all the weaknesses, so you can get all the melded weapons that your heart desires, because Lord knows there's a lot of them. So we got to find out the most effective way to farm this bad mamba jamba up. Now, for those of you that don't know, KULVE Taroth will be available to farm until May 4th, or if you're in the United States, it will be until May 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then you'll no longer be able to farm it until if it comes back. So let's go ahead and go to the research here, and we're going to check out the breakable parts, the rewards, and the weaknesses first, and then we'll go into some strategies that is going to drastically improve your ability to break the horns. So first off, let's go ahead and go to the Monster Field Guide. And we've got KULVE Taroth here. So its weaknesses are, when it's covered in gold, it's going to be extremely weak to thunder. Once you remove all of the gold, it's going to be very, very weak to ice. And then it's going to always have a decent weakness to water and dragon. But it's going to have the 3 levels of dragon once it's actually, while it's covered in gold. So you're really going to want to make sure to have dragon element. Pretty much is going to be like a good standard. Your water is good as well. So we've got the breakable parts as the gold plating. We've got the tail. Now, obviously, the gold plating around the body is going to be breakable. So we've got multiple parts on the tail, and we've got multiple parts on the limbs, the head, all sorts of places where you can actually break the gold plating. And then our weaknesses are going to be the head and the front legs once the actual gold is broken off. Now, you'll see here that we've got a couple different ways to get the gleam stones. You can obviously get them once you fully break the horns, but you can also get them on this gold drop when you actually get the gold plating on the horns to break off. KULVE Taroth will actually drop this pile of gold, which you can then carve up a few times to get various items, as well as a golden glimstone. Now, if you break the tail as well, once the gold is off, then you have another chance at getting the golden glimstone as well, and the golden tail shell. Now, as I mentioned previously, it is very easy to paralyze KULVE Taroth, so using a light bowgun or other ranged weapon with paralysis ammo, or any weapons with paralysis on them, is going to be extremely beneficial to deal quite a bit of damage to the face and horns, which is going to drastically increase your chance of actually breaking the horns during the quests. Now, she is also very susceptible to sleep, and I highly recommend taking advantage of this, because it can be really a game changer in the fight, especially if everyone has mega barrel bombs. It's going to make it super duper easy between paralyzing and sleeping to actually break the horns. Now, it's definitely beneficial if everybody in the party has it, but lo and behold, that's not always the case. So always bring some fireworks to celebrate the death anyways, because it's just magnificent to blow it up with fireworks. Best thing ever. Now, aside from sleep and paralysis, you're really going to want to take advantage of the 3 destructible rocks in the 3rd room. There's 2 in the lava area here, and there's 1 on the other side of the lava as well. Now, you can actually do quite a bit of damage with these, as well as completely stun KULVE Taroth, and you'll be able to do a ton of damage to her, which you're definitely going to want to make sure to not drop her when her face is going to go into the actual wall like this, because it really kind of ruins it. So I would make sure to turn her around and then drop the rocks on her, so that way you get a good actual hit on her face when she does drop to the ground. Now, you're definitely going to want to be using Part Breaker when fighting this particular Elder Dragon, because getting rid of all of the parts to increase your rarity of your items, as well as breaking the horns, is completely imperative to the quest. So it doesn't really matter how much damage you're doing, because you're not trying to actually kill her. You can't. It's all about breaking the parts. So sacrificing a little bit of damage for part breaking is going to be very, very good. Now, I have fallen in love with the light bowgun for this particular quest. Between the slicing ammo and the pierce, it's really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and go over the set that I'm using right now. So So the set we're using is pretty straightforward. We do have attack boost level 3 on here, but it would be level 4 if I had another attack jewel, or I would put another true shot jewel in here if I had it, because doing more damage with the Wyvern Blast is going to be really good. Unfortunately, I don't have another true shot jewel or an attack jewel, but if you guys are lucky enough to have those, then go ahead and socket them in as you desire. Now we also have a Pierce Jewel 3 in here. Now if you don't have the Pierce Jewel 3, you're going to have to swap out your Nergigante coil for the Wrath coil down here, which is going to have your Pierce shots on it. So you're not going to have that extra socket in there, and you're going to be using your piercing shots in here, but it's going to increase your damage with that. Now, you don't have to use piercing shots if you don't want to, but it's very beneficial to do it because it really does good damage to the chest area, which you need to cause damage to actually turn the gold molten, so it's significantly easier to break. Now, for the actual set, we are using free element ammo up level 3 in here so that we can get 2 shots of slicing ammo with the Karma, and with all 3 reloads on there, we're actually getting really quick reloads with the slicing ammo and able to pump out quite a bit of damage to the horns when we are able to shoot at them. We've also got weakness exploit level 3, part breaker level 3, critical boost level 2, piercing shots 1, critical eye 1, and special ammo boost 1. But obviously those would be kind of swapped out depending on the jewels that we have. So all in all, it's a pretty straightforward set. For the equipment, we are using the Karma Light Bowgun, the Breaker Charm 2, the mantles. Highly recommend the Fireproof Mantle and probably the Vitality Mantle, but you can really run with that whatever you want. Then we've got the Dragon King Eye Patch Alpha, the Wrath Soul Male Beta, the Kaiser Vambracers Beta, the Nergigante Coil Beta, and the Kieran Legs Beta. So, pretty straightforward build, and it does quite a bit of damage to the Elder Dragon. And I really fell in love with this. I've tested a bunch of different weapons when I was live streaming, and the light bowgun seemed like the best way to do the most amount of damage to the horns. Now, Dragon Piercer with the bow is really good as well, but it's not as targeted towards... It's just a lot easier to use a slice ammo build with part breaker with the light bowgun than it is with the bow. Obviously, the bow is going to do a little bit more damage when you get knockdowns and good headshots, but the light bowgun is very consistent. Now, that's not to say that all the other weapons aren't good as well. Another notable, amazing weapon is going to be the actual Insect Glaive, because it does quite a bit of damage and it's just really good against her. Now, I'm just not really good with the Wet Lip Noodle, but a lot of people are, so I definitely recommend that. But I really like the light bowgun because it has, especially the Karma build, because of the sleep, paralysis, and the constant damage onto the horns. Is just a really good weapon to use for this, because not only are you increasing everyone else's damage when you sleep and paralyze, but you're able to actively hit the horns all the time, which it's just very, very nice. Now, once you do break the horns, or anyone in your actual Gathering Hub raid breaks the horns, the quest will end and you'll be able to get your siege rewards. Now, you will still be able to get a bunch of weapons even if your party isn't the one that actually breaks the horns. Now, if somebody else in your raid does break them and you're inside of the quest, you still have the opportunity to break them yourselves. But I've only gotten the rarity 8 weapons like you see here when I've actually broken them myself. Now, feel free to leave comments down below if you've had other people in your raid break the horns while you actually didn't in your party and you still got a rarity 8 weapon. I am curious to know that. So far, the 3 times that my particular party didn't break the horns, actually it was twice, I think, I did not get a rarity 8 weapon, but I am curious to know from the community whether or not you did. But you are getting some really decent weapons here, and I'm really excited to see just how good they can get, because the stats are randomized, so you do have a chance of getting some really spectacular stuff, especially on the rarity 8 weapons. If you pull something with high attack and something that can be elementalist possibly, it can get really, really good. Now, in the first area that you're in, there are lots of these little bridge areas that you can break and crash down on her as well. So you definitely need to make sure to take advantage of all the breakable rocks in the particular map. There's a bunch in the first area, so anytime she runs under one of these little bridges, just blow it up on her, and you'll be able to do a ton of damage. And then in Area 3, you've got a bunch of them as well. So definitely take advantage of all of these, especially her elemental weaknesses and sleep and and paralysis, and you'll be breaking the horns like nobody's business. But I hope this video helped you all out. If it did, don't forget to show your support and smash that like button and farm her to your heart's content, and let me know what type of weapons you get. If you find something particularly exciting with really good randomized stats, feel free to post them in my Discord. There's a link in the description below for that. But I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!